Here we go, coming on the air with breaking news and Johnny Depp's defamation lawsuit and Amber Heard's countersuit. A jury finding both sides defamed the other, but is awarding more money, more damages to Depp. Our team is going to break it all down. What happened inside the courtroom? And with this, what could be the future legal implications for domestic violence? Plus, President Biden announcing new measures for the fight to find baby formula. The shortage, as you know, playing out, giving desperately needed help for parents. We'll hear from one mom who lays out what she has to do just to feed her infant. And some hopes for the global supply chain today, with Shanghai finally coming out from its 2-month lockdown. We're live on the ground in China. Imagine 2 months. Plus, an unprecedented report by California laying out 150 years of racism toward black Americans. But will this lead to reparations? We'll explain it in tonight's original. And a breakthrough study being released as we speak, giving hope for people battling pancreatic cancer. What this new treatment means for doctors and patients coming up later in our broadcast. Hey there, I'm Tom Costello in for Hallie tonight, and we are coming on the air with, as we said, breaking news. A big win in court today for Johnny Depp in his lawsuit against his ex-wife Amber Heard. The jury awarding him $15 million total in damages over Heard's claims that he abused her before and during their marriage. The jury did also award her $2 million. Again, the jury gave her $2 million in what was a $100 million countersuit against Depp for claims that she was defamed by Depp's lawyer when he called her abuse claims a hoax. Heard was in court for the verdict. Depp was not, which took nearly 10 minutes to read. Here's just a taste of it.
As against Amber Heard, we, the jury, award compensatory damages in the amount of $10 million. As against Amber Heard, we, the jury, award punitive damages in the amount of $5 million. As against John C. Depp II, we, the jury, award compensatory damages in the amount of $2 million. As against John C. Depp II, we, the jury, award punitive damages in the amount of $0.
Yeah, you kind of needed a scorecard on this one. The findings coming after the jury spent 13 hours deliberating the case that was laid out over 6 long weeks in Northern Virginia. Both Heard and Depp have responded to the findings. Heard saying in a statement, "The disappointment I feel today is beyond words. I am heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence, and sway of my ex-husband." Johnny Depp saying in part, "False, very serious and criminal allegations were levied at me via the media, which triggered an endless barrage of hateful content, although no charges were ever brought against me. And 6 years later, the jury gave me my life back. I am truly humbled." So we are covering all angles with our team, including the legal and the cultural implications. We're going to start, though, with Ron Allen outside the courthouse in Fairfax, Virginia. So, Ron, this all started with that 2018 op-ed in the Washington Post in which Heard said she suffered domestic abuse. She was a victim. Depp sued for $50 million. Heard countered for $100 million. And the jury certainly favored Depp in this case. But the truth is, the jury found that both of them actually were a little bit responsible, right?
Yeah, but Depp was mostly responsible, if you want to put it in those terms, yeah. And here outside the courthouse, there were Depp supporters, and they were cheering each reading of the verdict when it was found that he was, in fact, the victim, that he had been defamed by these statements that Amber Heard had made. The jury essentially found that she lied. That's what this was about. It was about who was telling the truth, because they both painted stunning and sensational pictures of each other as abusers. And the decisions came down in support of Johnny Depp's version of the events, not Heard's. And that's the way it's been for the past number of months this has been going on. In the court of public opinion, on social media, there has been a lot of support for Depp and not so much for Amber Heard. People have seen her as insincere. People have seen her as not somebody to be believed. And that's essentially what Depp's attorneys told the jury that she had done the performance of a lifetime when she testified about this alleged abuse that the jury apparently did not believe happened for the most part. So that's what this was about. It was about defamation or not. It was also about just who was telling the truth about what was going on in this obviously tortured and violent and tragic marriage that they had for so long. And yes, the amounts of money are staggering that they were fighting over, but now it's over. At least for this moment. Johnny Depp was not here, so that kept the crowd down outside of the courthouse. The crowds have been coming for him, to see him arrive, to see him go. That's why there was such a heavy police presence here during the recent weeks. But he's over in England, performing on stage, playing with his friend Jeff Beck, concerts, and his attorneys have said that that's what he needs to do because these were work commitments and he's been suffering from a loss of income. So that's what he's been doing. But the crowds were clearly for him. And that's how most people, I think, are seeing this verdict, as a victory for him and a real setback for Amber Heard.
Okay, so the nitty-gritty here a little bit. The jury had actually come back once, and then it was sent back to fill out damages that the judge ended up reducing. The judge reduced the $5 million in punitive damages given to Depp down to $350,000, right? Explain that to us.
Basically, that is a provision of the law in the state of Virginia that those kinds of damages can only top out at that particular amount. But beyond that, I don't think the dollar amounts really matter that much. And this is what Johnny Depp said, that this was never about money for him. This was about what he said was the truth. This was about him getting his reputation and his life back. Because he says that during the past number of years, since Heard published that op-ed in the Washington Post, that his life, his career has been ruined. So it wasn't about the money for him. It was about the truth and the reputation. And it appears that he has been victorious there, and we'll see what happens with their careers going forward. Depp seems like he's in a much better place than Amber Heard.
Okay, Ron, thanks. Ron Allen there in Northern Virginia. Let's bring in Danny Savalos. So, Danny, the jury needed to answer a lot of questions here. They found for both Depp and Heard, but Ron broke it down. Take us through the decision-making process here.
The jury, when they went back with that special verdict form, had to conclude essentially that Amber Heard was falsifying virtually everything in order to find the way they did. Because if the jury concluded that Amber Heard was abused even once, mentally, physically, or otherwise, then they were required to enter a defense verdict for Amber Heard, because that means that she would not have been lying or falsifying that she was a victim or a survivor of abuse. It's astonishing, and candidly, I was surprised that the jury returned a verdict, a finding of defamation on every single statement alleged by Johnny Depp. I was less surprised that the jury found less liability, we'll say, 2 out of 3 no liability findings for Amber Heard's counterclaims, mostly because they were a little more complicated, and perhaps the jury struggled somewhat with the fact that they weren't made by Depp himself. The one statement that was made that they did find liability contained a lot of factual assertions by Depp's agent. And when you have a lot of factual assertions in a statement, there's a greater probability for a finding of a false statement somewhere in that morass.
Okay, so they both presented a lot of evidence here during the trial. That included photographs, audio, and video recordings. Here's what Depp's team had to say outside the courthouse today.
Today's verdict confirms what we have said from the beginning, that the claims against Johnny Depp are defamatory and unsupported by any evidence.
We are also most pleased that the trial has resonated for so many people in the public who value truth and justice.
All right, so we saw pictures of her with bruises, a home where they were staying that was destroyed. Depp passed out on several occasions. Their marriage counselor testified that it was, quote, mutual abuse. Did any of this factor in with the jury, or were they starstruck if all of that evidence yet they still found for Depp?
Yeah, the last one you described, the mutual abuse testimony, they must have discounted that, because if they did find mutual abuse, then Amber Heard wins by definition, because she was abused on some level. So the jury must have completely discounted that evidence, and they must have concluded, I imagine they were in the jury room, and they must have reached a conclusion watching the video you just saw, which has come to be known as the cabinet video, and all the other evidence, and concluded that, okay, maybe he drinks too much, he slams cabinets, he didn't ever abuse her. It really is, when you look at the odds, when you look at the fact that Johnny Depp had the burden of proof as to every element, that she brought in this evidence of actual physical injury, and that he had to prove each and every element, the burden was with him, not her. It is really surprising that Depp was able to prevail in this case.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Danny Savalos, thanks very much for your expertise. Let's bring in columnist Liz Plank now. She wrote about the case, saying no matter who won the trial, America has lost. Liz, you say the jury has final say, but you're less interested in whether Amber Heard is a liar and more interested in why so many people are invested in this idea that she might be a liar. So what is the thinking behind all of that?
Well, I think that we saw a lot of interest in this trial. That's no surprise to anybody, given, that these are two major celebrities. One of them, a very big celebrity, right? Johnny Depp, I think, is much more well-known than Amber Heard. But this was a media spectacle, a lot of people paying attention to this, and a lot of people suddenly caring about domestic violence, caring about domestic abuse. But not necessarily when it came to, Donald Trump's allegations, or even a lot of women who have come forward when it's men who have been accused, but suddenly really invested in this idea, right, that Amber Heard is lying, that Amber Heard is this lying harlot, right, this really old school misogynistic stereotype about women, and that they're just out there making false accusations and falsely accusing men for money, when actually it's quite rare, right? False accusations do occur, but it's only about 2 to 10% of cases. And so the fact that this has gotten so much attention, that so many people were so invested in the idea that Johnny Depp is innocent, is going to be hurting domestic violence victims who already are afraid to come forward. Yeah.
Part of her statement today was that this was a setback for women. It sets back the idea, she says, that violence against women is to be taken seriously. A lot of people believe Depp's side of the story. The jury did. There are others who are concerned about what kind of an impact this has on domestic abuse survivors when it comes to reporting abuse. And I got to say, I also talked to some 20-something men and women today. They believed her. They believed Depp. They didn't believe her. They watched the trial. One of them said, he was more charming. He was funny. And she was caught in lies. I mean, some people were really watching this closely, and I'll admit I really wasn't. But is this a setback for women who bring cases forward?
I mean, to your point, Tom, a lot of people were analyzing Amber Heard's gestures and the way that she comported herself in this trial, whether her facial features or the way she was blowing her nose, if she was posing for camera, right? But there wasn't as much analysis and scrutiny when it comes to Johnny Depp's behavior. Johnny Depp was smiling in court. He was eating candy at one point. He did not show up to court today for this decision. I think if Amber Heard had comported herself in that way, it would have been received very differently. But you made a really important point. I've received more emails for this piece about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp than I've received about any piece I've ever written. I've heard from men who have been victims of abuse who say, I'm happy to see this trial unfold. I'm happy that we're finally seeing men speak out about, being victims of domestic violence. I've heard from women who don't believe Amber Heard, who are survivors as well. And then I've heard from a lot of women and men who stand with Amber Heard and say this is hurting domestic violence victims as a whole. So there's a lot of feelings. There's a lot of people who have a lot of feelings about this trial. And it's, going to keep going for a few days, even though it's over. I don't think it's over yet.
Yeah, regardless, it seems like it was a very sad, dysfunctional relationship. We'll leave it there. Yeah. Liz, thanks. Great to hear you and your perspective. Thanks very much. We're moving on now. New developments in this baby formula shortage that's causing parents to panic. understandably. Today, President Biden announced 2 new missions as part of Operation Fly formula. One is from Kenda Mill, flying out of London with help from United Airlines. The other from Bubs, Australia, out of Melbourne. The shipments start June 9th and will add up to more than 8 million 8-ounce bottles. The president also trying to solve the issue domestically, sitting down just a couple of hours ago with top health advisors and the CEOs from top manufacturers like Gerber. But real parents need help now, as one mother explained to our Jolene Kent.
Formula is the only way my child can eat. So I'm having to rely on the help of other people. So that in itself, as a parent, having to rely on other people for your child to eat, that's not a good feeling.
Yeah, I was talking to my wife about this, and she said, oh, boy, Mike Memley joining us. She said if our kids had gone through that when they were that young, my wife would have been in a panic. So airlifting formula now from other countries is not the long-term plan. And there was one pretty notable moment when the president basically said no one told him the closing of this Abbott plant would cause such a major disruption. He wouldn't normally be in on that anyway. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, Tom, this was actually a pretty remarkable moment when you put it in the full context. For instance, just yesterday, our White House team put out a really deep dive into some of the problems plaguing the White House. And one of the frustrations that we picked up from some of the sources that were talked to was that the president was really, frankly, frustrated with his own staff, that he wasn't read in on this baby formula shortage crisis much earlier in the process. So my ears really perked up when, during the course of the Q&A that Biden was having with some of these manufacturers, he asked them the same question over and over again, which was when there was this factory shutdown, the Abbott factory, early in the process, how quickly did you know, did you anticipate this was going to be a major crisis? And to a man, all the CEOs said they knew immediately that this was going to have a very serious impact for the American consumers. So then our friend Kelly O'Donnell asked the president, as the event was wrapping up, could he have acted sooner to try to deal with this? And take a listen to how he answered that question.
I don't think anyone anticipated the impact of the shutdown of one facility.
Didn't the CEOs just tell you that they understood it would have a very big impact?
They did, but I didn't.
So there you have it. The president very clearly, offering up that frustration that he was not as aware as perhaps he should have been earlier in the process. And I have to tell you, this was an event that was designed by the White House to really show that the president was on top of things, was dealing with the crisis. And instead, there were a ton of questions for the White House press secretary immediately afterwards about why the president was not read in sooner, and she didn't really have many good answers, Tom.
Okay, so the shortage has now reached 70% nationwide. When does the White House expect Americans to actually be able to get this help?
Yeah, there was another interesting moment in terms of how this event went down, where the HHS Secretary, Javier Becerra, really tried to put this on the manufacturers themselves. He said the administration has been doing everything they can to try to expedite deliveries from overseas, and we saw that with the 4 missions now that we're up to of Operation Fly Formula. But he said at the end of the day, HHS, the federal government, we are not manufacturers. We can only help facilitate this process. And so they really did put this back on the manufacturers themselves. And the president himself noted that Abbott, this one manufacturer which is responsible, and I will note, their CEO was not even invited to participate. They are responsible for 40% of the U.S. supply. And so we've asked, the administration has asked other manufacturers to help pick up the pace, but they acknowledge that this is still going to be, as the president used in another context, a long haul to get solved.
Mike, thank you. Mike Memley on duty at the White House. The baby formula shortage fits into this broader and confusing economic puzzle we're facing right now, in part because of global supply chain issues. And it's just one crisis the Biden White House is dealing with. Inflation is, of course, the other. So take a look here. These are the gas prices hitting a new national average of $4.67 a gallon. That's up 5 cents just from yesterday. By the way, $6.19 out there in California. And also, it's not hitting every state equally. So look at this from the 5 largest states, and you can see states down south like Texas and Florida lower than average. That happens when we have these supply chain issues with gasoline. In the Northeast, like New York and Pennsylvania, a tick above. But in the West, like California, again, $6 $6.20 a gallon, $6.70 in Northern California. And with interest rates rising and the war in Ukraine raging, the CEO of the country's largest bank, Jamie Dimon, this is important, Jamie Dimon says Americans need to brace themselves for, quote, an economic hurricane. And it's all leading to a frankly humbling admission from the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. Watch this.
I think I was wrong then about the path that inflation would take.
That's Janet Yellen. And now it's not just the White House. Today, the CEO of the country's largest bank, we mentioned Jamie Dimon, saying Americans need to brace themselves for this economic hurricane. So how big of a hurricane does Wall Street think we might see? And what does it all mean going forward? Jake Ward is with us to talk us through this. Jake, when Jamie Dimon talks, people listen. And this one really rattled Wall Street for a time today.
That's absolutely right, Tom. I mean, we're talking here about an incredible turn of events, right? I mean, no one saw the pandemic coming. No one saw Ukraine coming. And as a result, Janet Yellen and so many others talking about this unexpected turn of events in the economy. You know, when Jamie Dimon talks openly here about the possibility of an economic hurricane, he's not kidding. I mean, we're seeing everybody across the economy bracing for this kind of shift. And even the companies that we thought were beyond the reach of this, companies with record profits during the pandemic, like Amazon, like Google, seem to be slowing down their hiring. There is talk all across the tech sector of slowing down hiring there. So just an extraordinary turn of events here, and one that really defies the economic models we have relied on for years, if not generations, Tom.
Yeah, it really is a strange collection of data coming in, and it's not all doom and gloom for the economy. Look at the jobs numbers, for example. There were nearly 11.5 million openings in the U.S. in April, job openings. And with layoffs at an all-time low, the number of openings outnumbers job seekers 2 to 1. So what should we make of those numbers as part of this broader economic picture? We have low unemployment, despite the fact that inflation's high and the Fed is raising interest rates. You'd think that we would start losing jobs at a faster clip.
Well, the thing to understand about those numbers, Tom, is that unfortunately they do not represent the full spectrum of the economy. Those are not jobs in which you can put a family of 4 into a house. It is not; those are not jobs in which you could put a kid through a private school tuition college. Right? We're talking here about open jobs at the bottom end of the economy. You have companies, like Walmart, even Amazon, talking about having an incredibly difficult time bringing people into the lowest paying jobs. And once you get down into the realm of something like lifeguards, which I know you have looked at, you're talking there about public sector jobs that truly cannot pay a competitive wage, and so they just cannot bring people in. Meanwhile, at the top end of the economy, you've got these tech companies announcing hiring freezes, and those are the jobs Americans want. So it's not spread evenly across the economy.
Boy, that's such a good point you're making. Such a good point. But as I've been reporting on this as well, this really isn't just a U.S. issue. Right now, inflation in Europe, for example, is up at 8%. It's about where we are right now. We also see the UK and the EU and the Canadian central banks also raising interest rates, trying to bring down inflation. A global coordinated effort, that becomes more challenging.
Absolutely. I mean, there is not a central banker right now who is not sweating this at the moment. One thing to really consider is that, the 8.5% roughly inflation rate we're seeing across Europe, that would drop to only 3.5% if you took food and energy out of the equation.
And that's Ukraine.
The effect of Russia. Yep. Incredible. And so it is really helping with those two particular things, food and gas, that the United States is going to have to throw its weight behind.
Boy, Jake, such good points. Thanks, amigo. Appreciate your time. All right, turning now to Uvalde, Texas, where we are learning from the school superintendent that next school year, students will not be returning to Robb Elementary School's campus. It comes amid more discrepancies in key information from police, who now say that the door the shooter used to enter the school was not left open, but in fact closed by a teacher after the teacher realized there was a shooter on campus. However, the door did not lock. And Uvalde School Police Chief Pete Arredondo today told CNN he has been in touch. He has been in touch with the Texas Department of Public Safety. That's like the state troopers. After DPS said he had not responded for a follow-up interview looking into law enforcement's response. So all of this as the community members today are mourning and remembering the victims. with separate visitations and prayer services scheduled for several of them. Let's begin with Diana Bravo. Then we have Alina Torres, JC Camero, Lujan Dos, and a number of others. Funeral services also today for 10-year-old Jose Manuel Flores and teacher Irma Garcia and her husband, Jose Garcia, who died of a heart attack just after she died. Joining me now is Priscilla Thompson. Priscilla, talk to us about the conflicting stories and backtracking by the police, and how does this affect the investigation?
Yeah, Tom, these contradictions in the past 24 hours are just continuing to not provide this community with answers, but raise more questions. Now there is a question around why that door didn't lock, and now we're also trying to figure out what exactly is going on with the police chief. Yesterday, Texas DPS officials who are leading this investigation said that they reached out to him for a follow-up interview and that it has been days and he has not responded. But as you mentioned, the chief saying earlier today that he is in touch with them every day, although not being clear about whether or not he has accepted or declined that interview request specifically. But all of these contradictions just adding to the frustration that so many feel. In fact, today, the Texas Law Enforcement Association came out with a very critical statement, and I want to read a bit of that. They said, sources that Texans once saw as ironclad and completely reliable have been proven false. This false information has exacerbated ill-informed speculation, which has in turn created a hotbed of unreliability when it comes to finding the truth we all can trust. And in that statement, they go on to emphasize that they are placing this now in the hands of the independent FBI investigation, hoping that those investigators can get to the bottom of what exactly happened here. Tom?
Priscilla, 3 more funerals today. We mentioned this, but 4th grader Jose Manuel Flores and Irma and Jose Garcia. And today, a Border Patrol Honor Guard trumpeter played on Eagles' wings. Let's listen in just for a moment here. Priscilla, I can only imagine the overwhelming sense of grief in that community right now and how it must hang over everybody. How is the community coping? It's been more than a week now.
Yeah, Tom, that was a very poignant moment when the Honor Guard began to play that trumpet, and the folks gathered here listened to that. And in terms of the community, people are coming from all over to stand in solidarity with this community. I spoke to a woman who drove an hour and a half to deliver flowers for services. She said that the flower shop her cousin owns has been getting orders from across the nation. And after she delivered those flowers, she came here and she lit a candle, and she told me that she had been watching it unfold on TV, and she just felt compelled to be here and to do something. Take a listen to a little bit of what she shared with me.
I've lost my brother, and my son has lost his dad at a very early age. So I know what they're going to go through, and my heart hurts for them.
And I just can't stress enough, really, the feeling of community that is really the mood on the ground, especially at these memorials as those private services are being held for the families of those victims. Tom?
Yeah, Priscilla, I know it's tough to be there, but thank you. Thank you very much for your reporting. On Capitol Hill, small steps taken today as that group of bipartisan senators met virtually, trying to find common ground on gun legislation, specifically looking at expanded background checks and red flag laws. It comes as the House Judiciary Committee is set to vote as early as tomorrow on a handful of new legislative measures that would include raising the age to purchase a semi-automatic rifle from 18 to 21. That particular measure has almost zero chance of passing the Senate, but Democrats are pushing forward quickly, saying that they want to raise the pressure on Republicans. So joining me now, Sahil Kapoor. Sahil, give us a reality check. Where might these bipartisan Senate negotiations finally end up?
Well, Tom, there's more optimism now than I've heard in quite a long time about Congress doing something on the issue of gun violence prevention. Now, the big question is what? Democrats, as we all know, have a broad list of policies that they would like to pass, but they have no hope of getting most of them through the Senate, where Republicans have effectively veto power over any legislation as a result of the 60-vote threshold, the filibuster. Now, there was just a bipartisan meeting of senators. You see the names on the screen and the faces on the screen here, 9 of them, who just wrapped up a meeting this afternoon on the issue of guns. Talking to Republicans, the big question is what they're willing to support, because they've been reluctant in the past, and where are the areas that they're willing to compromise now. There are 2 buckets of them, according to Republican sources that I've talked to. The first is money. Money for school safety, money for mental health, money for safe storage. That's the relatively easy part of the negotiation that Republicans should be amenable to. The tougher part is what changes in the law Republicans would be amenable to, aimed at keeping guns out of the hands of dangerous people. This is where the issue gets very fraught, and I'm told that they're looking at things like red flag laws. They're looking at policies around background checks, although they'll certainly be narrower than the universal background checks that Democrats have sought to pass for quite a while. That's where the negotiations are now. We are still waiting to get a readout from this group of 9 as to whether they've moved substantially beyond that.
Okay, so talk to me about the Mitch McConnell piece of this. He's seemingly blessed this group, and Texas Republican John Cornyn, who is seen as kind of the liaison to party leadership, also working with this group. So should we be cautiously optimistic that an actual deal is in the works, or is that unlikely as well?
Well, McConnell's blessing is a crucial factor in this, because if past is precedent, his sign-off is typically necessary to get the minimum 10 Republican senators necessary to break a filibuster. And now the key person I would watch in terms of these negotiations and the process is John Cornyn, the Republican senator from Texas. It is his home state where the Uvalde shooting happened. He has been involved in gun policy negotiations, had some successes such as the Fix NICS Act, and failures, including last year when he tried to negotiate with Chris Murphy, another key player in these talks over some limited background checks proposals. McConnell and Cornyn trust each other. Cornyn used to be McConnell's deputy. Cornyn is unlikely to support something that can't get McConnell's blessing, and McConnell is going to want Cornyn's sign-off before he endorses anything. So this is kind of where the puzzle is right now. Getting Cornyn on board means getting McConnell and vice versa. And going forward, Chris Murphy, the lead Democratic negotiator, is going to be trying to get McConnell as well as Cornyn together. Let's have a listen to what McConnell said about how he sees this.
It seems to me there are 2 broad categories that underscore the problem: mental illness and school safety. So hopefully we can find a way to come together and make some progress on this horrendous problem, consistent with our Constitution and with our values.
And notice he didn't say the word guns, and that is a part of how Republicans would sell any potential deal here. They're going to sell it as a matter of mental health and school safety, an easier sell to their base, much of which is pro-gun. Tom.
Okay, Sahil Kapoor on Capitol Hill. Thanks, Sahil. Also, we just heard within the last hour that Meta Chief Operating Officer Sheryl Sandberg is stepping down. Sandberg says, quote, "It's time to write the next chapter of my life." And she says that she will focus now on her foundation and philanthropy. She's also going to stay on Meta's board of directors. Again, Meta, the Facebook parent company. Sandberg had been at the company since 2008 as CEO Mark Zuckerberg's number 2. Her resignation comes at a time where Meta stock and other tech stocks on the NASDAQ have been dropping significantly, with Meta down 42% so far year to date. Still to come, it's day 1 of hurricane season, and it looks like it's going to be a bad one, what experts are predicting this year. And come in or get out, what Elon Musk told Tesla workers about returning to the office. After a break. They're back. The Atlantic hurricane season officially here, and forecasters are predicting another above-average year for hurricanes. The National Hurricane Center believes there is the possibility of 6 to 10 hurricanes, 3 to 6 big ones, which means they are a Category 3 or stronger. All this is happening as 41 million people are at risk for severe storms today. Weather that led to tornadoes yesterday. Look at that, like this one in Newport Richey, Florida. Al Roker joining us now with the forecast. Al, start with yet another round of severe weather. Millions are I understand under threat today and tomorrow. So what's the forecast?
That's right, Tom. So we're already looking at severe weather now, severe thunderstorms firing up from New England all the way down to Texas, where we've got thunderstorm watches and warnings as well. We're also going to be watching that severe weather stretching all the way from upstate New York down to San Angelo, Texas. We're talking about wind gusts of 65 miles per hour, 39 million people at risk, tornado or two possible. And then for tomorrow, the bullseye is right around the mid-Atlantic states from Philly, Atlantic City, Salisbury, Norfolk, Washington, D.C., Charlottesville as well. Isolated tornado, damaging wind and hail. Storm system pushing to the east. That heavy rain is going to exit the northeast coast later tonight. But then we've got a flood threat for parts of the southern plains as this low pressure system meanders through the Midwest. A severe risk for much of the mid-Atlantic for tomorrow as this front pushes through. And then we're going to be looking at anywhere from 3 to 4 inches from Texas. We get to 1 to 2 inches here into the northeast. Now, talking about the Atlantic hurricane season, and in fact, this is the 7th year in a row where they've predicted above average temperatures. We've got this area of interest right now along the Yucatan Peninsula, and the National Hurricane Center giving it an 80% chance of developing into a tropical system from the Yucatan all the way up to Tampa, Miami, and Key West. We're going to watch this system. Low pressure will develop near the Yucatan and then start to make its way up and off the Mexican coast into the Gulf of Mexico. It probably becomes a tropical depression over the Gulf tomorrow. Does it make tropical storm status? If it does, it's Alex. Friday, heavy rain, gusty winds, isolated tornadoes as this system pushes through. Heavy rain, Tom, we're talking about locally upwards of 7 inches or more, gusty winds. And of course, with this system, even if it's not a tropical storm, it could be spinning up tornadoes as well, hail and severe thunderstorms. So we're going to be watching this very closely.
How much of this, I know you're not God, although many of us think you're the weather god, but how much of this is climate change?
Well, here's the deal, Tom. The idea that we've got an above average prediction for the 7th year in a row leads to actually there is climate change part of this, because, for example, the Atlantic right now, the water temperatures are warmer. This is the 3rd year in a row where we've had a La Nina. So that's cooler water by the Pacific at the equator. That weakens the Atlantic trade winds, which favors tropical development. We've got warmer than average Atlantic waters, and so that favors more energy for these systems, and all of that due to climate change. So there is a correlation between climate and these increasing storms and these hurricanes. Don't forget, Tom, you know better than anybody, we've been seeing these rapidly intensifying storms over the last several years. So they get close to the coast. Normally they'd lose power. Instead, they're intensifying and causing even more damage.
Thanks, Al. He works around the clock, that guy. He works every single hour of the day.
Just like you.
All right, let's get over to the 5 things our team thinks that you should know about tonight. Number 1, a grand jury charged the white 18-year-old accused of killing 10 black people at a New York supermarket last month with domestic terrorism motivated by hate and 10 counts of first-degree murder. The man is scheduled to be arraigned Thursday, not saying his name. Number 2, Bill Cosby's latest civil trial began today in California. A woman claims Cosby forced her to perform a sex act at the Playboy Mansion back in the 1970s when she was underage. The former actor was not present at the trial, and he denies the allegation. Number 3, NASA announced today that Axiom Space and Collins Aerospace were picked to move forward in developing the next generation of space suits. They'll make the suits for work outside the International Space Station and the Artemis moon missions. Number 4, here comes Tesla CEO Elon Musk raising some eyebrows for emails he sent to employees. He said workers should return to the office or leave. The email said workers were expected to spend a minimum of 40 hours in the office per week, and that if people don't show up, well, quote, we will assume you have resigned. Number 5, a study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association says it looks like 3 grams a day of omega-3 fatty acids is the right amount, the right dose to help lower your blood pressure. Those fatty acids are in things like salmon, tuna, and oysters, and of course, supplements. All right, when we come back, it's a big day in Shanghai. The city is reopening after a 2-month COVID lockdown, literally locked inside apartments. Why some people there aren't celebrating just yet. Stay with us. The city of Shanghai officially reopening today after 2 months of being locked down. So most of the 25 million people who live in that city are free to leave their communities to go into shops or their office buildings. It also means cars are back on the streets and the subways and buses are running again. But even as all that's happening, more than 500,000 people in that city are actually still under lockdown or in designated areas because virus cases are still being found. The reopening will also be gradual. Movie theaters and gyms, for instance, will remain closed for now. Local neighborhood committees can also determine their own policies on how they specifically want their communities to reopen. Janice Mackey-Freyer joins us live now from China, and she lives there. So, Janice, this is a big day for Shanghai. I can only imagine what it's been like to live through this very difficult period, to be locked down. We've seen horror stories, people running out of food, for example.
Well, overall, there is this immense sense of relief, Tom. I mean, remember when officials first ordered people to stay at home, they said it was going to be for 4 days on each side of the city. So most people weren't prepared, and certainly not for 65 days. So all through the night and into today, there were celebrations. Cars were honking their horns. People were setting off fireworks and taking selfies along the Bund. But a lot of people, too, were just embracing the mundane activities that make up a more normal day, going for a walk or a jog or going to the shops, things they just haven't been able to do for the past 2 months. Now, you mentioned there are still areas of the city that are still locked down. Thousands of people are affected. The reopening will be gradual, but businesses are beginning to start up again. So the pendulum is beginning to swing the other way.
You know, we've also heard from U.S. health officials that the Chinese COVID vaccines simply aren't as effective, and that may be one reason why they are still going through lockdowns. But this is now also important for the national economy in China and the global supply chain, right? Because we've been feeling the effects here of the China lockdown. Stuff is not shipping from China.
Well, and those effects will continue to be felt, and some experts think there will be further shocks to the system. The issue to this point has been manufacturing came to a standstill, so there hasn't been the production out of Shanghai, which is a major manufacturing area, especially for electronics and automobiles. Components are becoming scarce, and that's caused a backlog in the system because it's also the world's largest container port, so there have been issues with consolidation and getting stuff out to sea. The problem that could still come is that with manufacturing now ramping up, there could be a flood of goods into the global system. That's going to drive up demand for shipping containers. That's going to drive up costs. All of this, I'm sure, is sounding familiar. So all down the line, there is the expectation that in the months ahead, things are still going to take longer to reach places like the United States, and chances are they're going to cost more.
All right, Janice, glad you're safe, glad you're healthy. Thank you. Janice Mackey-Freyer, who's in China for us this morning. Her time, evening hour time. Coming up, California releases an unprecedented reparations report detailing 150 years of intentional harm the government inflicted on its own black citizens. So that's our original report tonight. And in the local, the warning from officials at Yellowstone after a bison there gored a 25-year-old. Stay with us, coming up. Back now, NBC News covers hundreds of stories each day, and because you could not possibly read, watch, or listen to all of them, our bureau teams have done that for you and for me. So this is what they tell us is going on in their regions in a segment we call The Local. From our Western Bureau, park officials at Yellowstone say a woman survived after a bison gored her and tossed her into the air. The park says that the 25-year-old from Ohio approached the animal, coming within 10 feet of it before it attacked. Park rangers recommend staying at least 75 feet away from bisons because they are, in fact, unpredictable, and they can run at speeds of up to 35 miles per hour. Also from our West Coast Bureau, a massive rock slide caught on camera in Lake Powell, Utah on Memorial Day. boaters noticed some rocks falling off a cliff, and then an entire section of it broke off, crashing into the lake. Look at that. Thankfully, they got away unharmed. The cause of that rock slide still unknown. And from our Southeast Bureau, a federal judge in D.C. has okayed unconditional release for John Hinckley Jr. He's the man who tried to kill President Ronald Reagan. Hinckley shot Reagan 4 decades ago. A jury found him not guilty by reason of insanity back then. He spent many years in a mental hospital. He has been living in Virginia under court-issued rules since 2016. All right, now we want to bring you today's original with in-depth reporting on a topic we've been keeping a close eye on. California just released a new reparations report recounting the moral and legal wrongs the government has inflicted on black people. Those are their words. This is the first government-commissioned study on harms against the African-American community since 1968. A 500-page report, and the panel is detailing the harms perpetrated by the state and recommends steps to address those wrongs, including expanded voter registration, making it easier to hold violent police accountable, and improving black neighborhoods. Here's Von Hilliard with our report.
California making the most significant step in American history toward granting its African-American descendants of slaves reparations.
It's substantiating the claim for reparations for the African-American or American freedmen community on the municipal, state, and federal level.
On Wednesday afternoon, the state government releasing the report of a task force formed by the state legislature to study the history of slavery, the state's sponsorship of it, and its costs on Californians today.
We made the historic decision to affirm what we called lineage-based eligibility. So what that means is a community of eligibility will comprise of African Americans who are descendants of free and enslaved Black people who were living in the United States prior to 1900.
The group proposing that the state now offer reparations for direct descendants of slaves now living in California, but also, for instance, individuals outside of California whose ancestors were harmed by the state's policies. In 1852, the report says there were approximately 1,500 enslaved African Americans in California. The task force is also recommending restitution for black individuals whose ancestors were forced by the government out of their homes for government projects like highway construction, but also for consequences reaped by generations of government-complicit racism involving housing, employment, and educational discrimination.
We pay for what we want to. We paid for wars. We paid for redevelopment of communities. And I think that we're capable. The question is, do we have the will? Do we have the moral fiber?
This is the most extensive government commission report on America's black population in more than 50 years, since President Lyndon Johnson's 1968 Kerner Commission. California Governor Gavin Newsom backed the creation of this California task force in 2020. The group will now spend the next year proposing the mechanisms in which reparations would be extended. In Wednesday's report, it already outlined the creation of a government office to help residents track their family lineage and file reparations claims.
What does the action off of this report actually ultimately look like?
I think it's a great opportunity to set an example for the rest of the nation on what atonement looks like, but more importantly, what an apology and reparations can look like.
The hope for the task force that the state government will lead the way in making good on the report's proposals.
Do you have faith, though, that those very lawmakers will take action and offer those reparations based off the findings of this report?
Absolutely. I have the absolute faith in the California state legislature to take this to the finish line, so to speak. Absolutely.
All right, Von Hilliard is joining us now. So, Von, this is the task force's initial report. What happens now?
Yeah, Tom, 1 year from now is when we will be revisiting this very conversation, because this task force has been assigned by the state legislature to figure out how to best offer these reparations, how the mechanics of this would actually work here. And that is very much the complicating part of all this. When we look at the federal level, Tom, the U.S. Congress, Democrats have introduced a proposal since 1989, every year since 1989, calling for a commission to look at reparations across the country. But even in this Democratic-backed House here, that has never come to a full House floor vote. Now, there are some justice groups that have called on President Biden just last month to issue an executive order, which would call for a commission on reparations. He is yet to do so as well, and that is why there are so many eyes looking at what California ultimately does here in the year ahead.
Okay, buddy. Thank you. Von Hilliard, appreciate it. Coming up, a potential medical breakthrough. What scientists are saying about a new treatment that helped a patient survive one of the deadliest forms of cancer. Stay with us. All right, big news here. In the last hour, researchers released a groundbreaking study that found a possible treatment for pancreatic cancer, a cancer that has been notoriously difficult to treat. In the last 2 years, some notable names have died from the disease, including Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Congressman John Lewis, and Alex Trebek. Doctors say it depends on when the cancer is first detected, but the odds of surviving are usually around just 11%. According to the New England Journal of Medicine, the disease had been resistant to all immunotherapies until now. Scientists say a new treatment involving cells in one patient had success with virtually no side effects. So Dr. Natalie Azar is here to discuss this new breakthrough. Dr. Azar, we're talking about one patient's case. The results are being called a breakthrough. How is that possible? Just one patient may be a breakthrough. And what's the treatment?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think they're framing it this way because it really is so unprecedented. Number one, that the cancer itself would respond to any type of therapy so well. As we know, and as you pointed out, pancreatic cancer is notoriously difficult to treat and certainly very almost impossible to cure because it presents at such an advanced stage, and also very often at the time of surgery, there are already micrometastases. So to say that this patient had a good response to treatment in general is very good, but to immunotherapy specifically, Tom, and that's because historically pancreatic cancer was not really a good candidate for immunotherapies. Now remember what immunotherapy is. As opposed to conventional chemotherapy, which wipes out tumor cells, but as collateral damage wipes out a lot of good stuff too. We all are very familiar with that. Immunotherapy is targeting the cancer cell specifically. And in this case, Tom, what they do is they take a patient's T cells, it's part of your immune system, they genetically modify those T cells, they reprogram them to be able to recognize, attack, and kill tumor cells. And it's a one-time infusion. They take your T cells out, they reconstitute them, they infuse them. You have one treatment, and these T cells that are now modified are essentially like a living therapy. They continue to exist in your blood so that if the cancer ever recurs, they're essentially there, ready and waiting to reattack and kill new tumor cells should they arise.
Okay, but a second patient, I guess, had only a short-lived response to the treatment, right? So tell us about that.
So we don't, the researchers themselves don't know why it didn't work for this patient. And there are, because this is a very, very complex biological process, pancreatic cancer as well as immunotherapy, there are multiple different things that they're looking into and investigating to see why it didn't work for this patient. And I should mention, yes, this is an N of 1. You know, we get excited when we hear things like a patient was cured of HIV, things like that. But it's so important because it really does lay the biological groundwork for people, for you know, scientists and oncologists across the world to study this patient further, the one who didn't respond and the one who responded. I should also point out, Tom, that this mutation is not unique to pancreatic cancer. In fact, it can be found in other types of cancer, such as lung cancer, ovarian cancer, colorectal cancer. And that, again, is what makes immunotherapy unique. It's not specific to the cancer. It's specific to the mutation, which can be found in other malignancies.
See why we like you? Because you speak plain English. You're great.
Oh, good.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Azar. Appreciate it. All right. That's a wrap for this hour. Hallie, back here tomorrow, same time, same place, same bat channel, as they say. Coverage picks up right now.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.